Hello, welcome to my channel. It's nice to see you again. If this is the first time you are visiting my channel, thank you for coming to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always trusting me and thank you for always returning back again. For you, if you're the first timer to my channel, please go ahead and then click the subscribe button, like, share, refer your friends, tell your friends about I Need Scrum Master, and then let's journey together. Let's scrum together. All right. As a way of introduction, my name is John Bosco, but my friends do call me JB. So do please go ahead and call me JB if that is what you feel comfortable with. And then I am a Scrum Master. I am more than happy to journey with you in this Scrum journey. All right. So today I will be joining with you on what I call Scrum Applied. So we'll be looking at Scrum in a nutshell, because I do hear for some people that Scrum is really so complicated, right? But I will try as much as I can to make it very simple, right? I will try to simplify that. That is why I call it Scrum Applied. So it's Scrum Applied 101. All right, so I'm going to pull up a slide and then we can see how Scrum is very simple and very straightforward. All right. Okay, so today we'll be talking about Scrum Applied. By Scrum Applied, how does Scrum become more simplified? How do we make Scrum very much easy for everybody to understand? It's more or less like how can you explain Scrum to a 5-year-old child, right? But in this context, we're looking at Scrum on how it could be applied. All right. So, actually, the easy way to understand Scrum is what I call the mathematics of Scrum. We're not doing, 2 times 2 or, 3 multiplied by 2 or whatever we do in mathematics. So we are trying to look at how Scrum could be very much simplified for everybody, both people in software and people who are in academia or people who are in business to really understand what Scrum is. So the simple formula for Scrum is 3-5-3. Can you repeat that with me again? Let's go. 3-5-3. And what does that mean? This is just a simple formula to understand. If you could memorize this formula, believe me, you are very much closer to understand what Scrum is. Now, there are 3 roles in Scrum. There are 5 events in Scrum, and there are 3 artifacts in Scrum. Very simple, right? We have 3 Scrum roles. We have 5 events or 5 ceremonies or 5 activities, and then we have 3 artifacts. So I'm going to explain what I mean by Scrum roles. I'm going to explain what I mean by Scrum ceremonies. I'm going to explain what I mean by Scrum artifacts. All right. The first 3 is called the 3 Scrum roles. In Scrum, there are 3 roles, right? We have the product owner, we have the Scrum Master, and we have the developers. These 3 roles make up the Scrum team. There might be other people that could help or could participate or could be enablers during Scrum projects. People like project managers, product managers, and PMOs, project management officers, right? These are not counted as Scrum team according to the Scrum Guide. Scrum Guide is a document that really emphasizes, that really irons out, that really specifies who should be counted as a Scrum team. And each of these 3 roles has its own individual responsibilities. And each of these roles also has its own role to play in Scrum, right? Sometimes people think that Scrum is project management. It is not. Scrum is an agile framework. It's a different way of executing software or working on projects. So a product owner primarily is the owner of the products per se. He or she is the voice of the customer. I'm not going to iron out or spell out the responsibilities of the product owner. There are thousands and lots of, responsibility of the product owner, but I just want to highlight the key responsibility of the product owner, who the product owner is. What does he or she do? Right? The product owner is more or less like this, like the customer. In a waterfall environment, the product owner might be seen as the project manager, but in Scrum, the product owner is the one who represents the customer or the client. The Scrum Master is more or less someone who has the mastery of Scrum or Agile, right? He or she is responsible to make sure that the team follows the right Scrum process. He helps the team to deliver value, as simple as that. The developers comprise of software developers, software engineers, solution architects, quality assurance. These are the guys who are cooking the code, right? Even sometimes business analysts are being included or being, included as developers, right? These are the three primary Scrum roles we have. Now, how about the events? In Scrum, there are lots of activities that the Scrum team go through in order to be able to, deliver something or be able to work out something or be able to give out the end product of what they have been working on. Those activities are called Scrum ceremonies, and there are 5 Scrum ceremonies according to the Scrum Guide. First is the sprint planning. The sprint planning is a time when the developers can be able to sit together, can be able to discuss, can be able to have a conversation on how they can be able to work on that particular project, right? So they have that team conversation, right? And it could take about an hour, 30 minutes, an hour, depending, to be able to do that, or be able to engage in that conversation for the sprint planning. You have another event called the daily stand up. For some people, they call it the dailies, right? Whether people call it the dailies, whether people call it the stand up, but what the Scrum Guy says is daily stand up. It's a 15 minutes time boxed meeting that this Scrum team do every day. Every day, 15 minutes, nothing more. Nothing more than 15 minutes. It could be less than 15 minutes, but anything going beyond 15 minutes should be discussed in what is called a parking lot. Okay, so this daily stand up is a meeting that developers keep each other accountable, is a way to inspect and adapt on the work in progress. They do that 15 minutes. It doesn't matter at what time they do that. Scrum suggests in the mornings, but because of the kind of environment we live in, because some team members might be distributed, what I mean by some team members might be some in different parts of the world. So because of time difference, right? So it could happen, let's say in the afternoon, in the morning, in midday, whenever that is an opportunity for everybody to converge together in order to have that meeting, right? It's 15 minutes. And the Scrum Master facilitates that meeting. Um, the other ceremony is the sprint itself. The sprint is the time when the developers are actually executing the sprint. For some people, they call it sprint execution, but Scrum Guy calls it sprint. The sprint could be 2 weeks, could be 1 week, could be 3 weeks, it could be 4 weeks, nothing more than 4 weeks, according to the Scrum Guide, right? So that is the sprint. The fourth event is what is called the sprint review. The sprint review, people, interchangeably call that the sprint demo, but it's not a sprint demo, it's called sprint review. Technically, what that means is it's an opportunity where the developers or the Scrum team can be able to demonstrate to the stakeholders. Stakeholders could comprise of internal stakeholders and external stakeholders of what they have been able to work on for the sprints. So it's like an opportunity for them to show, right? It's not, Scrum is not just telling people, it's not just saying things, it's about showing and telling at the same time, right? So it's an opportunity where the developers can be able to demonstrate what they have worked on. That's what you call sprint review. You review what you have worked on and capture feedback to know whether you are on course or off course, right? So now you see why people call it sprint demo. All right. The last but not the least of the Scrum events is what is called the Sprint Retrospective. As the name suggests, retrospective is a reflective period, right? A reflective moment for the Scrum team, right? So it's an opportunity for the Scrum team to be able to reflect among themselves to really figure out how far have they been able to, to ask themselves, how can they improve, right? But at this point, it's not a reflection on the product again, but it's a reflection on themselves, on the tools, and on the Scrum process. Three things: reflection on themselves, reflection on the Scrum process, and reflection on the tools to know what they should do more of, what they should do less of, and action item for the next sprint. These are the five ceremonies. The last or the second, three on our mathematical formula is the three artifacts. By artifact, it means byproducts, right? In archaeology, we have what is called archaeological artifacts, but we're not doing archaeology at this point. So this is Scrum. So let's pay attention to Scrum. And there are three artifacts in Scrum. You have the product backlog, you have the sprint backlog, and then you have increments. Let me explain. Very, very straightforward. Product backlog is like a container. So you remember when I talked about the product owner who is like the voice of the customer, right? So whatever requirements, whatever information that the product owner captures from the clients or from the customer, he or she puts them into a container that is called the product backlog. As the name suggests, product backlog means a place where information is stored. Sprint backlog is a byproduct of the product backlog. What does that mean? During the sprint planning, the Scrum team will be able to have a conversation of how they will be able to work on the sprint. So those information, which is called issues in the Jira is a tool, right? But those user stories are functionalities that are written from the perspective of the customer. Those information, those issues, those user stories, those tasks that they're going to work on are pulled away from the product backlog to another container called sprint backlog. It is from the sprint backlog that the developers will be going in to be pulling information and start working during the sprint. You get that? Very straightforward, right? Then what is increments? Increments is what the developers are shipping to the client at the end of the sprint. Scrum Guide says potential shippable increments, right? So this is what they are demoing to the client. And it is the product owner that will be able to decide technically when to be able to release those increments, whether every sprint, whether quarterly or whatever, right? It is at the discretion of the product owner to be able to decide. So that is why Scrum, people say it is very complicated. I don't see how complicated Scrum is. If you can really remember this mathematics of Scrum, 3-5-3, 3 Scrum roles, 5 ceremonies, and 3 artifacts, you will really, really follow and understand what and how Scrum works. The final thing I wanted to touch on is about continuous delivery, continuous improvement, right? Scrum is about always delivering, iteratively delivering something to the client, chunk by chunk, chunk by chunk. Scrum does not deliver at a whole or in bulk, no, which is in contrast with Waterfall. In Waterfall, there is this idea of we want to deliver as an entity, as a whole to the client or to the customer. But in Scrum, it is always continuous delivery. What that means is we're always shipping something to the client every iteration, every sprint. At the end of every sprint, I already explained what sprint is. It's the duration where the developers are really executing what they already planned during the sprint planning. Continuous improvement. During the sprint review, the client, at the end of the sprint review, when the developers must have demoed to the client or to the customer, now they will be capturing, the client will be able to say, good, I'm comfortable with what you are giving to me, or no. In other words, these are the things you should do more of. These are the way you should be able to do it. In other words, there is opportunity to improve. There is opportunity to make it more better, because the idea is quality software. The other is quality products, right? Some people say Scrum is a silver bullet about projects. I don't know about that. I'm not sure that if Scrum is really a silver bullet, but what I could say that Scrum creates an opportunity for for improvements, opportunity for growth, opportunity to capture feedback, and opportunity to make it more better. Okay, so that's one way I thought I could explain this thing really well to us, because some people are like Scrum is very difficult for them, or Scrum is very complex, or Scrum is really XYZ. I'm trying to break it down, giving you the mathematics of Scrum applied. All right, I'm just gonna keep it at this point. If you have any question, or you have any thoughts, you have suggestion, please don't fail to comment in the comment section. If you are visiting me for the first time, welcome, bravo, nice to meet you. If you need more information about what I do or how I could help you as a person, as a team, as even as a company, please email me at info@ineedscrummaster.com, and then I'll be more than happy to meet with you and discuss more. If you are looking for a place to learn about Scrum, if you are looking for a Scrum, um, to take a Scrum course and then take the certification, I'm more than happy to help you with in that regard. What you need to do is visit www.ineedscrummaster.com, and then I can be able to meet with you, or you can also email me at info@ineedscrummaster.com, and then we can be able to do that. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. All right, that's where we're going to start for today. Thank you again for stopping by, and then I will see you again next time. I hope to see you again. Bye for now.